Alright, so diagnostic is we are going to jump the fuel pump and the ground. So that's going to be this one and this one. What we're going to use to do that is a straightened out paper clip. Now that is going to bypass the fuel pump relay, and when we turn the key to the on position is going to send power directly to the fuel pump. So if the problem is that the fuel pump is bad, we will not hear the fuel pump operate. If the problem is that the fuel pump relay is bad, we'll hear the fuel pump operate. So we've got the ground and the fuel pump jumped. So, all right, I do not hear the fuel pump at all, so that means it's the fuel pump that's bad. So, on to the next stage. Gonna have to remove the style bar, pull up this carpet, then there is a plate under here that covers the fuel pump that is right on top of the gas tank. Have the new fuel pump and a new filter sock. It's always a good idea to replace that if you're replacing the fuel pump while you're in there, just that way it's brand new and good. I replaced this about 1.5 years ago once, but you know, better to have it and not need it and need it and not have it. Now, my style bar takes a 5mm hex wrench. Okay, the style bar is off. Next, we pull up the carpet here, but to do that, we're gonna have to close the roof. Now, be careful with these little clips. I mean, they're literally only a couple bucks for a dozen of them or so, but if you don't have them, they make installation a little more difficult. And that one just broke. Yep, looks like I'm going to be getting another pack of these. This piece of fabric just lifts right out. Yep. And the fuel pump is right under here. All right, we remove these screws right here. This plate just lifts straight off, and there you have your fuel pump. First thing you're going to do to take out the fuel pump is remove this clip right here. You do that by pushing in on this tab and just slide it right off. There we go. All right. Now next thing is we're going to get a couple of sets of vice grips, the needle nose vice grips, so they're not putting an enormous amount of pressure. And we're going to pinch off these fuel hoses right here and put a towel under them so that when we pop these off, we're not going to make a huge mess. So now we can actually get to this with the top down, and you want to make sure to do that because you don't want any fuel fumes to build up on the inside while you're trying to work. We're going to take our vice grips and pinch our fuel lines. You want to make sure not to pinch them too hard or tight because you don't want to rip the hose. You just want to make sure to have enough pressure to just pinch them off. There we go. All right, we've got both of these pinched off. Next thing is we're going to remove these, but first we're going to put something absorptive underneath so that we don't make a huge mess. Now these right here are the most handy dandy things for removing these type of clips. They are absolutely perfect. I highly recommend you going to Harbor Freight and getting yourself a pair. All right, those clips are off. Now we wiggle our lines off of the pump. And whoa, that's right. Coming out of the pump under pressure. I don't understand how that is. Oh. Yeah, I do, because the gas cap is still on, and I'm a dummy. Okay, so Rule number 1, remove the gas cap before you make a mess. Yeah, there's pressure. I'm dumb. Okay. Now, we should be able to take this off without it making a huge mess. Yeah, there we go. That's what it was supposed to do the first time. And there. Boom. Okay. Fuel pump is now disconnected from the fuel lines. Those can just sit out of the way like that. And that's also another reason to have these vice grips, because it helps you to keep your fuel lines out of the way while you're working. And dispose of this safely. Now we remove these 8 screws around here, and that will allow the fuel pump assembly to lift out. Okay, so she is free. All right, and it is free. Make sure to let it drain fully. Now when you're changing this out, make sure to always cover up the hole in your gas tank so you don't get any debris in there that'll clog your filter up later. Alright, so first thing, remove the screw at the bottom of your fuel pump assembly here. Okay. Set that aside. This little plate wiggles off. There you go. That lifts off. And this little bad boy right here pops off as well. Now make sure to try and save this little metal retainer clip, because they are very, very tiny, and I'm not sure if your fuel filter is going to come with one. So just kind of walk it off that little peg with your fingernails, if you have any. Make sure to set it to the side right next to that so you keep track of it. And then this little bad boy right here lifts off, and that's your filter sock, which is going to be replaced by this one, and you can tell they're supposed to be white. So, alright, so here we go. Oh wow, this comes with all kinds of new stuff. It even comes with a new little retainer clip. That is awesome. That is a lot more complete kit than I anticipated getting. That is a bonus. Okay, now, if you couldn't tell, that right there is how this is going to sit in. Looks like just pulling down on the filter is going to be the easiest way to go. Yeah, pop the filter out. Loosen the retainer band. There we go. That's going to be a lot easier. Okay. Press in on your clip. There's not a lot of space there. Give her a wiggle, and there you go. Oh wow. And this would be a great time to clean that. Okay, we've got the connector cleaned up. Got our new fuel filter here. Insert the clip until it snaps. No, it kind of snaps. Then you're going to want to remove this right here. Alright, get that washer in the tip there, and just work your fuel pump into it. And there you go. You're seated. Good to go there. Alright. Your retainer band goes back around. Kind of reminds me of the rubber band you get around a bunch of broccoli. Okay. Next, we are going to attach our new filter sock. Looks much better than the old one. And we're going to need our new retainer clip from the fuel filter assembly. This fits on here, like so. Make sure to seat it on. Do not press down on the top of your fuel filter because you don't want to break this or these. All right, so I'm going to use a 4mm socket because that fits just right inside there. Use that to press that on nice and evenly and seat it down. And that is not the right one. That part does not match this part. So we reuse the old part. Everything is going to be just fine. Okay, fuel pump is reattached and locked down nicely. Now to reinstall. Very gently replace your fuel filter. Very gently. It's one of those things you want to be as careful as possible with. Okay, that is back in position. Now we put it back in, reattach it with the screws. Now we reconnect clip. We reconnect our fuel feeds. There we go. Now we get our handy dandy extendo offset needle nose, and we move our clips back up, and there we go. Take our vice grips off. See, I didn't go very tight on there. It leaves a little bit of a mark, but those actually, I don't know if you can see on here, I've done this before, and it does not negatively affect the integrity of the hose at all to pinch them like that.